They are nearly unlimited, the ways we could perform even simple actions. Speed, acceleration, and rotation of contributing joints could each time be changed. And yet, it seems as if we prefer certain movements. So what makes them special? And how does the brain make the right decision? At the Bernstein Center for Computational Neuroscience Munich, Murat Saglam, Stefan Glazauer, and Nadine Lennon want to answer such questions. So far, researchers have wondered why the brain limits the number of possible combinations. The team led by Glazauer approaches the question slightly differently.
Wie suchen wir uns eigentlich die Bewegung heraus unter der Annahme, dass wir im Endeffekt eine Bewegung machen, die für ein bestimmtes Ziel optimiert ist?
But what constitutes an optimal movement? To better understand this question, neurologist Nadine Lennon studies horizontal eye movements. For that reason, she measures the eye and head movements with a coil of copper wire that is attached to the forehead and another coil that is integrated into a contact lens. An aluminium frame around the subject generates a uniform magnetic field. As soon as the small copper coils move in the magnetic field, they induce a current. From this, eye and head movements can be determined very accurately. The experiment confirms. The motion profile matches not only between multiple runs, but even between different subjects. The electrical engineer Murat Saglam explores which attributes the brain specifically examines. Using mathematical models and computer simulations, he attempts to reproduce natural movement.
Mathematics can be very useful in order to understand how the brain works. For example, in our study, we use optimal control theory that helps us to extract the principles that determine a movement is good or bad, or efficient or not.
Using optimal control theory, one can find the movement that has the highest precision. The researchers considered two main factors in their model. The faster a movement is, the less precise are the performed muscle forces, while for medium movement speeds, target accuracy is very high. However, if the speed of the movement becomes too slow, many small disturbances then add up, and the movement also becomes imprecise. The calculation of movement control is highly complicated. In a first step in solving this problem, Saglam tries to find out which principles govern the distribution of the movement between eye and head.
We found out that natural properties of eye and head basically determine how much work is done by each of them.
So far, simulations did not consider one important detail: a counter-rotation of the eyes that takes place at the end of the gaze shift. Once the eyes reach the target object, this counter-rotation compensates for the continuing head rotation. In his model, Saglam examines its benefit.
We showed that making a counter-rotation basically helps us to make a gaze shift which is more precise.
For 2 years, the engineer and the clinician have worked together intensively to get results from the experiment and the model into accordance. Finally, Saglam's model not only accounts for the movement speed and relative contribution of both eye and head, but also for the eye's counter-rotation. Under natural conditions, the head properties can vary, for example, by wearing a helmet. Weights at the helmet increase this effect during the experiment. Lennon examines its influences on the movements.
Der Helm erhöht das Trägheitsmoment des Kopfes. Wenn die Steuerung im Gehirn nicht an diese neue Situation angepasst wird, dann beginnt der Kopf zu schwingen, wie man das hier sieht. Solch ein Schwingen sehen wir zum Beispiel bei Patienten, deren Gleichgewichtsnerv auf beiden Seiten zerstört wurde und die deshalb nicht in der Lage sind, die Bewegungssteuerung im Gehirn an die neue Situation anzupassen.
Murat Saglam picks up the findings of the clinician Lenin and integrates a comparable disturbance in his model. Can it still predict the experimentally measured movements? The simulations show the success. Theoretical calculations and experimental measurements match. If the model holds true for more complex actions, it could be an important contribution for medical research and for the development of human-like robots.
Also solche Modelle können in vieler Weise eigentlich nützlich sein. Ich meine, unsere Anwendung hier ist natürlich in dem klinischen Umfeld, in dem wir uns hier befinden, für den Patienten. Was bringt es da, um Krankheiten zu diagnostizieren? Die andere Anwendung ist technische Systeme und da konzentrieren wir uns darauf, Bewegungen zum Beispiel von Robotern besser zu machen. Und zwar besser in der Hinsicht, dass sie von uns Menschen leichter verstanden werden können.